I am a travel writer. My job is to visit places and write articles about them. The website I worked for often paid for my accommodation. Needless to say, I loved my job. Being a single man in his late 30s, I was living a life full of adventures. But this one incident changed everything. A few years back, I went to visit a place named Crooked County. It was a small countryside town in Arizona. Road trips have always been my favorite. So I packed my bags and got onto the road. The refreshing country air accompanied by vast green fields drove all my stress away. My accommodation was down in the town motel, which happened to be the only stay for outsiders. After 5 hours of driving, I was exhausted. As I reached the motel and got inside, I saw a young boy standing at the counter, talking to a woman in her late 40s. I walked to the counter and introduced myself. The old woman looked at me with a smiling face and said, "Welcome, Mr. Astor. I am Mrs. Jamie Fright, the owner of the hotel. We have arranged room number 204 for your stay." I smiled back and said, "Thank you. Please, call me David." She smiled again and told the young boy, "Ted, take David to his room." I realized Ted is her helper. The motel seemed old, but its decoration appeared new to me. It feels like the place has been renovated recently. I looked at Ted and asked, "Has this place been renovated recently?" Ted said, "Yes, sir. After the death of our previous owner, Mrs. Fright bought this motel at an auction. She did all the renovation." I nodded and said, "So, how many guests are living here right now?" Ted replied, "There are 4 people, including you, sir, Dr. John Wayne, and Mrs. Cooper with her 10-year-old son." Ted opened the door of room 204. It was a mid-sized comfy bedroom with a large window giving a view of the vast green fields nearby. I unpacked my luggage and went for a shower. It was close to dinner time, so I got ready to go for dinner. I was hungry, too. I was just about to step out of my room when I heard a small group of people talking. I opened the door and saw a man with a stethoscope on his neck sprinting towards the end of the hallway. He almost rushed towards the room on the left at the end of the corridor. I saw Ted coming in the same direction with a fearful face. I stopped him and asked, "What happened, Ted? What's going on?" Ted replied in a shaken voice, "Our gardener, Boris, has been found dead in his room." I was beyond shocked. There had been only a few hours I reached here, and all of a sudden someone died? I followed Ted to Boris's room. I saw Mrs. Fright sitting on a chair and weeping in a low voice. The man with the stethoscope was probably Dr. John Wayne. He was checking the man lying on the bed. Another woman was standing next to Mrs. Wright and trying to console him. I guessed her to be Mrs. Cooper. After inspecting the man on the bed for a few minutes more, Dr. Wayne looked at Ted and said, "I will write a death certificate so that you can conduct the necessary rituals." Mrs. Fright started to cry loudly now. The most terrifying thing was Boris's face. His eyes were wide open, filled with fear. It felt like he saw something horrible before his death. His face was pale and his entire body seemed bloodless. There were so many questions going through my mind right then. What happened to Boris? How did he die?